the silent bus. When I went near office gate, there was a bus stop near it. There was a bus waiting near the stop. As soon as I went into the bus, the door was locked and no one was there in the bus, and the windows were locked. I can't able to see through the windows. I went to driver to ask him to stop the bus, but the driver was not there. I was shocked at that moment. Suddenly, the bus stopped and the doors were opened. I went down and the bus was turned into dust. It was too dark on all the side and I can able to see a castle in front of me. There was no other way to go, so I went inside the castle. The doors were locked when I get it. I felt that I was struck inside it. Suddenly a voice welcomed me and there was a woman heading towards me. She told that I was looking so tired and asked me to refresh and join her for the dinner. She showed me a way to bedroom. I don't know what to do. I was also hungry at that moment. I went to the room to refresh myself and joined her for the dinner. The dinner was arranged in a luxurious way. I enjoyed the meal and went to bed. When I was laying in the bed, I heard a strange noise. I went out to find the source of the noise. I found a monster attacking that woman. I tried to help her, then the monster chased me. I ran to save myself. While I was running, I slipped into a hole. When I got up, I found myself lying on a cold, hard surface. The air was damp, and the dim glow of flickering torches illuminated a massive underground chamber. As I stood up, trying to make sense of my surroundings, I noticed strange carvings on the walls, symbols and runes that I couldn't understand. I was walking through the chamber and watching the carvings in the walls. I found a Gaint statue and a huge fire bowl in front of it. Suddenly, I heard the same noise. There was a monster standing behind me. The monster was preparing to attack me. I found a sword from the fire bowl. As soon as I took the sword in my hand, it starts to glow. By watching the bright light, the monster got frightened and I chased it away. After some time, it went into dark. Suddenly, a dark shadow approaches me. The woman I had seen earlier appeared out of the shadows, but she looked different. Her once kind eyes now glowed with an eerie red hue, and her smile was unsettling. "You shouldn't have interfered," she said in a voice that was both gentle and menacing. "This place is no ordinary castle, and I am no ordinary host." I backed away, my mind racing to comprehend what she was saying. "What is this place? Why am I here?" I asked, my voice trembling, her gaze piercing. "This is the realm between worlds, a place where lost souls find themselves when they wander too far from the path. The bus was no coincidence. It brought you here because you were chosen." "Chosen for what?" I asked. "You're chosen to replace me," she said, her voice echoing with finality. "Every century, someone must take on the burden of guarding this realm. The monster you saw, it was trying to protect me from your interference. But now it seems something is wrong with it. The fate has chosen you to protect this world." "No!" I shouted, shaking my head. "I don't belong here." "You have no choice," she replied, her voice calm yet unyielding. "Your life as you knew it is over. You must embrace your destiny." Before I could protest further, the woman transfers her power to me. The ground beneath me began to shift. The runes on the walls glowed brighter, and I felt a surge of energy enveloping me and made me to kneel before the guardian statue. In no time, my vision blurred, and a searing pain coursed through my body. Now my hands are glowing with the mystical runes of power, standing in the center of a dark open space. A woman was standing at a distance, her elegant features now twisted with an unsettling aura, stepping closer to me. Her voice is smooth yet laced with an undercurrent of menace. The woman said, "Are you okay? Don't worry. I will help you to get out of this burden. Share them to me, and I will spare you the pain." I hesitate, looking at my hands, the runes pulsing faintly. I feel the immense energy coursing through me, but it's overwhelming, chaotic, and unfamiliar. I asked, What will you do with it?" With hesitation, woman replied calmly yet cold. "Restore balance, bring order to this realm. You are not strong enough to wield this power, but I am, trust me." My knees buckle as the weight of the energy begins to take its toll. Slowly, I extend my hands toward her, the glowing runes beginning to brighten as his power flows toward the woman. Just as the transfer begins, the ground shakes violently. From the distance, a massive figure emerges, a monster with glowing, gentle eyes and a protective stance. It roars and moves towards us. The monster grabs me gently but firmly, lifting me as though I weighs nothing as its massive claws glowing faintly with protective energy that repels the woman's grasp. Woman shouted furiously.
How dare you interfere? He is mine.
The monster growls deeply and throws her away with its power and walks towards the castle. I clings to the monster's fur, confusion and fear giving way to an odd sense of safety. She used her power towards the monster. The monster roars again. A thunder splashed at the women, making her disappear from that place. After reaching the castle, it let me down. I asked the monster, "Wait, what's happening?" The monster replied,
"She is an evil woman trying to snatch your power. I am helping you, my son."
I asked it with puzzled tone. "What? You are my father." I questioned him, "Are you telling the truth? How should I trust a monster?" The monster took off its pendant, which looks like a glowing marble, and gave it to me. When I grab it in my hand, the crystal glows brighter and showed me a vision. I saw a boy sit slumped on a couch, headphones on, ignoring the faint clatter of dishes from the kitchen where his father is washing dishes. His single father, an aging but determined man with a kind yet tired face, approaches and gently pulls the headphones off.
You're not a child anymore, son. Life doesn't wait for you to grow up. It moves forward, whether you're ready or not.
The young man rolls his eyes, barely glancing at his father. The scene shifts to snippets of the father doing everything alone. Cooking, cleaning, working late hours at a cluttered desk. All while the young man scrolls his phone. One day, the father places an old photo on the table, showing a younger version of himself holding a newborn baby.
I had to grow up fast when you came into my life. I chose to for you. I am getting old. Now it's your turn.
But the young man, dismissive as ever, scoffs and leaves the house. The father sighs watching him go, his face a mix of frustration and sadness. He was playing with his friends in a game center. At that time, he receives a call from his father. He ignores it and resumes to play. When game is ended, he checks his phone. At that time, he receives a call from an unknown number. He answered it. "Boy, who is this?" "Man in phone, I am calling from hospital. Your father is in danger. Could you rush to hospital immediately?" When he went to the hospital, his father is fighting with the death. Finally, a doctor came out and said, "He doesn't have much time." The boy burst into tears. The young man sits in silence, his father lying on a bed, hooked up to an IV.
Promise me, you'll try. Stop running from life. Be the man I thought you should be.
The young man looks away, guilt and fear warring in his expression. He mutters a vague agreement, but his father smiles faintly, believing in him even then. I heard the heart monitor beeps. The boy burst into tears. In the shadowy training ground, lit by flickering torches and glowing runes, the father monster stood before his son. "To fight the lost dark souls, you must master your power," he rumbled. The young man, nervous yet determined, faced shadowy constructs summoned by his father. Dodging clumsily, he managed to destroy one with a burst of energy. "Faster!" the father bellowed, pushing him harder. The father demonstrated a protective shield, urging, "Feel it, control it." Struggling at first, the young man finally formed a solid barrier, deflecting an attack. Confidence grew as he fought, defeating waves of constructs in perfect moves. Finally, the father summoned a massive dark soul monsters. "This is your true test," he said. The young man hesitated, but, with his father's encouragement, charged forward. Together, they unleashed a brilliant explosion of light, defeating the beasts. As the dust settled, the father placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "You're ready," he said. The young man nodded, his resolve firm, prepared for the battles ahead. As the boy and father are ready to battle against the darkness, they bump their hands. The young man and his father fought side by side. The young man fires radiant energy beams from his hands, while the father smashes through the enemies, creating shockwaves. Despite their efforts, the dark army seemed endless. Realizing the dire situation, the father monster turned to his son.
"There's no other way. We must combine our powers."
The young man nodded, their runes glowing brighter as they merged their energies. In a flash of blinding light, the two transformed into a colossal beast. The fused monster lets out a deafening roar and destroys the dark army with massive energy waves and ground-shaking attacks, wiping out the enemy in a final explosive blow. One by one, the monstrous army fell until none remained. As the dust settled, the fused form began to unravel. The father monster, weakened and drained, separated from the young man. The young man rushed to its side, his hands trembling.
You're the chosen one. This power, it belongs to you. I've given all I can. Now, it's your time.
No, you can't leave me, he cried.
You're ready. I'll always be with you.
But the father monster smiled faintly as its body began to fade. The young man collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed by grief and rage. His runes flared uncontrollably, his powers surging to unimaginable levels. He screamed, the sound echoing across the battlefield, and his body began to rise into the air, enveloped in a blinding blue aura. He flies toward the ominous castle, and he was before the door with grief and rage towards the darkness. The Silent Bus.